Hello and welcome to the inaugural webinar of the brand new MyHeritage webinar series. I'm Jeff Rasmussen, your host, broadcasting to you live from Webinar Studios in Middleton, Idaho. Our presenter is Daniel Horowitz, expert genealogist at MyHeritage, who is here to speak to us on the topic of genealogy for beginners, Start Your Online Family Tree. So thanks to Daniel, who is live at MyHeritage headquarters in Or Yehuda, Israel. And thanks to all of you, wherever and whenever you are around the world, for sharing part of your day with us. And now I'm pleased to introduce Daniel Horowitz, who provides key contributions in the product development, customer support, and public affairs areas at MyHeritage. He holds board-level positions at the Israel Genealogy Research Association and the International Association of Jewish Genealogical Societies, among others. Daniel was the teacher and study guide editor for 15 years of the family history project Searching for My Roots in Venezuela. Please put together your virtual hands and let's give Daniel Horowitz a nice warm webinar welcome. Daniel, how are you, and welcome to the show.
Very, very good, Jeff. Thank you very, very much. It's really a pleasure for me to be here.
Well, I'm so happy to have you here, and you've done the technical parts. We can now see your screen, and so the time is all yours. Thanks again, Daniel.
Okay, thank you. Yes, this is the first webinar that we're doing in this series. I would like to start from the just very, very beginning and also give you a little bit of tips, recommendations, and hints on how to develop your genealogy. Before, and just for you to know what is MyHeritage, currently MyHeritage is considered the leading global destination for family history and DNA testing. And through all this webinar series that we're planning for this year, we're going to show you the technologies and the different aspects of the company and what you can do with MyHeritage. You should know what makes us different from all the other companies out there also doing genealogy and offering you tools to do your genealogy. Well, according to the people that knows, we have a superior technology, and you can read all about that in different bloggers and social media. Definitely, being in Israel, we have a global strength as we understand 42 languages. Our software and website is available on all those, so you can do your genealogy and communicate with other people from around the world. And we have some exclusive databases, but that is a subject that we will bring you later on the year. So how you should start your genealogy. Normally, you should always start by yourself because you are the person that knows more about you, right? You know where you were at school, what you did through Middle Ages and study university, work, your first girlfriend, your wife, all those details about your life that probably nobody knows them better than you. Or I should say almost no one, because there are other people that probably knows you as much as you, which are your parents. And in order to know the facts of your early years, you may need to ask your parents, like when was the first time you walked or the first words you said when you were growing. And if you're already talking with your parents, you should also ask them about their lives. And if you already asked them about the life of different family members, you may be asking for grandparents, great-grandparents, and so on, trying to go back as much as you can in the generations of your family and consequently in time. The further back we go, the more information we can gather. And of course, not only concentrating on your parents, grandparents, and your lineage up the tree, but also to the sides, the husband or wife, the spouses, the siblings, and all your aunts and uncles and cousins in order to make that family tree richer. So MyHeritage followed that exact path. This is the MyHeritage home screen. And the first thing that you will be doing is creating an account on MyHeritage, which at the same time is going to create a family tree. So it's 2 for the price of 1. You should put in all the information about you that we're asking, your name, last name, year of birth, email, of course, in order to be able to communicate with other people, and your parents' information, first names and last names. Now, if you already have a family tree someplace else, either software or hardware, you don't need to start from scratch. You can very easily use the import GEDCOM, which is the standard format to move trees from one platform to the other. And then you can import your GEDCOM. You will still need to put your name and your email and a few details. But basically, all those facts or names and information recorded in your tree is going to come in that GEDCOM. It should be very easy from any website or software that you're using, software or website specialized in genealogy, to go to the menu and find the export GEDCOM to generate the digital file. Once you save it in your computer, you can upload it to MyHeritage. So once you filled all the information that you know about yourself and your parents in this screen, you're ready to start. We're going to ask you also about your grandparents. First, from your mother's side. And again, we're talking about first names, last names, a year of birth, a country of birth, if the person is alive or not, and the year that the person died. And this, all these selections, all these options have a lot of significance, because MyHeritage uses the living or not status in order to decide or to rule the privacy of your family tree. All the people that are marked as living are going to be privatized. Nobody will be able to see any information about them. If the person is marked as deceased, then his information will be available to other members of MyHeritage. And this is actually good. This is what you want, because this is the way that other people can find you, and the MyHeritage technology can help you to build the family tree. Once you're done with your parents, or before we move to the other grandparents, let's talk a little bit about names. And let's start with the given names. Why you were named like that? For example, Jeff, do you know what is the origin of your first name, of your given name?
Yeah, I actually do. My mother's mother, she actually liked watching a basketball player in the NBA whose name was Jeff, and he spelled it Geoff. And so that's my story, or that's their story on why I'm named why I am.
Definitely an interesting story. In mine, and in my case, the Daniel, it's kind of similar, because I have a cousin older by 1 year, and his name is Charles. And of course, based on the Snoopy character, Charlie Brown. So my parents decided that if we have a cartoon in the family, we should have 2. And then I came with Dennis the Menace, of course. And yes, I was a menace for my parents. But you see, through the stories, you're not only collecting those nice stories, and you will remember the names, but sometimes you're also named after an ancestor, like a grandparent or a great-grandparent. So the name is going to be repeated in the family tree through the generations. And it's always nice to hear a little bit of the story is what we call the flesh on the bones of your family tree, and not only collecting names, given names or last names. And if we're talking about last names, those are kind of very important. Last names can tell you a lot about yourself and your family. It can tell you the origins of your family. In my case, Horowitz is a family that is originated in near Prague, in what it was then Czechoslovakia, today Czechia. It will tell you the languages. Sometimes a last name can give you a clue what language or what country your family came through, or the occupations. A lot of people have, like Smith. Smith is the most typical last name, and it's a person that was working with iron back in the good old days. So you should research, not only collect the names, but also research them on a little bit of the history. Of course, the most common practice is for last names to pass from father to their sons, but sometimes, especially in Latin America, for example, where I was born in Venezuela, my ID had both last names, my father and my mother. So it's easier to track families that way. In Spain, for example, people may remain with their up to their grandparents' names without any problem. So again, all the names, they have a meaning, and part of your research should be to inquire and to get the information about the meaning of those names. So now we can continue filling the basic form of with the grandparents from your father's side. And also you will note here that we're not asking for anything exact. A year is more than enough, and if you have it approximately, that's fine. And if you only know the country where the person was born or died, that's also good. And if you don't remember or you don't know, just leave it blank. Later on, you will have an opportunity to fill those holes in the tree. So up till now, we have what we call the magic 7. 7 individuals on your family tree, yourself, 2 parents, or 4 grandparents. And this is enough for MyHeritage technology to start kicking in. And what we're doing in this process is comparing the details that you just gave us in order to try to find other family trees that matches your names. Now, not only Daniel Horowitz, but Daniel Horowitz, the son of or the grandson of, who was born in this country and this year. So it's all the information that you gave, and hopefully you will become presented with a page like this, where it says that MyHeritage found a connection. MyHeritage found one of those 7 individuals in a family tree. Some people may be seeing the picture of their grandparent or their parent for the first time. And the good thing is not only that MyHeritage found a match and can retrieve information that you may be missing from that individual, but that individual belongs to a family tree, and therefore you could also add up to 50 people from that family tree to your tree. So the step here, the next step will be to click on that yes sign, and MyHeritage will present you with the other people related to the one that you typed. All those individuals are going to be deceased individuals. MyHeritage doesn't match and doesn't show you at this stage living individual information. So you have over there the mother of Bepi in this case. You have the father, the brother, the grandparents, the niece, nephews, sisters-in-law. All those are going to be copied to your family tree as you click the button on the bottom that says Add to your tree. The next step will be to choose a password, preferably something that you will remember, but that will be complicated enough so nobody else will go into your account. please, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is already taken by me. So try to be a little bit more creative and find a different and probably a little bit more difficult password. And you're all set to start working on your tree. You will notice that in this stage, I have a little sign that says new over the different cards of the people in the family tree. And that is because those individuals and that information was copied when I accept the match that MyHeritage gave me. So this gives me the opportunity to go and open the information, the new information, and make sure that it's correct, and probably learn a little bit about my ancestors. Now you will see on the upper right corner that I am pointing you to an area where you can find a person. This is because when your family tree will grow, you may not be able to see all the people in the tree. In fact, if you see over Joseph Jansen, they're kind of an antennas. This means that there are other people that are hiding, and the website cannot show you everybody at the same time because of the relationships and the line crossing one to the other. So if you go up where it says find the person and you start typing the name, we will give you a list of possible names, and you will be able to very fast go to that person in the family tree. Next to that finder in your tree, you will see a wheel and a question sign. This will give you all the help of all the things that I'm going to explain today. So if you need further help when you're working in your family tree, it's that easy as clicking on that question mark. But also very important is the option wheel that you have over there, because you will be able to decide how you want to see your tree. Remember that although MyHeritage may connect you with other people, you're still the manager of your tree and your website, and you decide what can be seen by who. So the first selector will be how big the display you want to see it. If you want to have 5 or more generations, or if you want to go down up to 1, if you want to see the email boxes, the edit icons and buttons, and I'm going to show and explain what everything of this means. And remember that this is your view. The way you are viewing your tree may not be the same way as other people are viewing the tree. I'm going to go into that in a second. But before that, we talked already about names, and you should know that your mother, although she may have the last name as the same as your father, she had a last name before. It's what we call the maiden name. It's the last name of her parents or her father and her fathers. So what happened is that when women married, they normally, not necessarily, take the last name of the husband, and they kind of lose this maiden name. So you can decide how to see the tree. In my case, I recommend, and I use it like that, also to see the married name and the maiden name. Sometimes you may know the woman by their married name, by their maiden name, and I want to have all the names right there on the screen. Okay, you can also decide if you want to see the prefix or the suffix over there, the titles, all the details you can choose right there. And the last option that you have over there is the tree privacy settings, the tree editing permission. And let me jump a little bit further. I'm going to show you in the next slide how to invite people to your tree. But it's here where you're going to decide if those people, if those members of your website are going to be able to edit the information that you have over there. They will be able to collaborate with you, or they're only allowed to view the tree. If you're a beginner, a real beginner, I will suggest you to leave the editing permission open. That will allow your family members to collaborate with you and to put some information that you may be missing in your tree. Although I should say, don't hold your breath. Like most of the family members, they will enjoy a lot what you're doing, but they will not collaborate a lot. But anyhow, in my case, when I have more than 7,000 individuals in my family tree, definitely I don't want anybody messing up with my information, especially because they just say that Aunt Mary died when she was 60, when the truth is that she was 90, but she still said that to everyone that she was 60. So we're talking about inviting people, and it's very, very easy on MyHeritage. Like on the card of the individual, you have a space where it says invite to side. Let me click over there, and you can see how a space has opened in the card, and now I can type the email of that person. I can also choose here if I just want to record the email or also invite him to the site. And you don't need to invite everybody, okay? Jeff, not you, the other Uncle Jeff, that the one that nobody cares and nobody wants to talk with him, I don't need to invite him to the tree if I don't like. So just by filling the email over there, you're going to record the email and also invite him or not to the tree. What else I can do in my tree? Where you will notice that in my tree or in this tree, almost everybody has a picture, has a face. And this is one of the beauties of MyHeritage, that I can actually see the faces of my relatives, except for uncle and great-grandfather Harold, who is missing a picture. So by clicking on the camera below the silhouette right there, I will be prompted to select a file or just drag and drop from my computer. So the image should be first on my computer, should be digitized, and then I can select the face of my individual on the photo, and this is what is going to be used as the personal photos. If we're already talking about photos, let me drop a couple of pieces of information here. Photos are actually very, very important for your genealogy. It will remind you about your relatives. It will record different events that happen, weddings, birth, your childhood, or other events of the family. And sometimes photos were used also as postcards or as message sent overseas or inside the country to places far away. So, for example, the picture that you have over there at the bottom is a family that gathers specially to take this picture. You can see the house on the background, and this is the message that you can see that everybody is fine. Granny is still over there in the middle of the picture, smiling and doing fine. We have new babies in the family, as you can see here, the father, the proud father with the baby in hand. So the first thing you should do when you have a picture like this is actually turn it around and hope that somebody wrote over there the date, the place, and the names of the people in the picture. That will help very, very much. The second thing that you should do is scan or digitize the picture. And by taking a digital picture with your smartphone will be good enough at the beginning, but I suggest you to really dedicate a little bit more of time to just professionally scan those images. And then you will be able to upload them to MyHeritage or just share them with other family members and ask people in your family if they know who are in the picture, if they know where and when the picture was taken. Now, Another thing that you can do on the family tree is grow your tree with the names and individuals that you are missing. You can do that by clicking any of the add father or mother incentivizers that we have on the tree, and that will bring the basic card of a person. You will see there that we ask for the gender of the person, first name and last name, prefix, suffix, also the birth and the death information, the day, month, year, and the place, if the person is living or deceased, and we already said that this is what's going to set up the privacy rules on your website. We're going to get back to that in a minute, but what if you want to add not a parent, but a spouse or a sibling or another kid? For that, you have the little plus that you see below each one of the cards in your family tree. And remember that I mentioned the editing permissions on your family tree. When you invite somebody and you have closed the editing permission, people will not see that plus. People will not be able to click over there and add any other individuals to your family tree. So here you see that I can actually add almost any relationship to this main individual. I can add a brother and a sister, a son or a daughter, a father or a mother, and I can also add a partner. So two important pieces of information regarding partners here. First of all, MyHeritage allows multiple partners because that's life. People married multiple times for different reasons, but also MyHeritage serves today's community by allowing same gender marriage. Okay, so you can just, even that it's marked over here in pink, you can select the person, you can change the gender of the individual, and it will be recorded just like that. Now, I would like to draw your attention to the upper left corner where you see this little silhouette. And no, I'm not singing. Here is what we call the left panel. It displays more information about the individual that you are focusing now, and you can click on any individual in the family tree and the information is going to change. You will be able from here to add more information, to add pictures, to edit the information that you already have. But more important is that you will be able to connect or disconnect this person from their relationships. And the reason for that is because, you know, it happens in every family tree. Your first cousin from your mother's side decided to marry your second cousin twice removed from your father's side. And you don't want to have duplicates in your tree. You want to keep it as clean as possible. So instead of generating another individual with the same details as the one that you already have, you only need to connect that person with an existing person. And there is where you will create this connection, and you will be able to navigate from one individual to the other and not duplicating. Sometimes we made mistakes. Sometimes people divorce and you want to remove that connection. You can do that from here. And if the mistake was very big or the fight was very big, you can always delete any individual from your family tree right from that More menu. Okay, you will see also a pencil in the lower right corner of every card. This is something, again, that you and the people with permission to editing will be the only ones to see it. And this is going to bring the main card of the person that we already talked about. You will see all the information that was copied over there, including information about the wife. And if you are a beginner, this will be the very first steps that you should fill information for. Like Sometimes probably you will not know exactly what you should write on the family tree. You just simply try to fill in the blanks. But the goal of these webinars is not only to show you how to start, but how to improve, how to grow, and how to become an expert genealogist. So MyHeritage also would like you to keep going and will allow you to edit more information. And what is that more information? And we totally understand that you may not know what we want from you. That is what we have all these templates with all these fields to be filled. Very easy. The first one will be the essential ones. Like we said before, the names, the birth and the death information. But here you have an extra piece, additional names. We were talking before about the given name, the first name, and the last name, right? But some people may have a religious name. Some people may have a nickname. So if, for example, you have a cousin, Sasha, Alex, like I do, his nickname will be Sasha. And some people may also change their names for multiple reasons. So you have a former name. You can use this both for the first name or the last name or for both. And as we were talking about people that were named after ancestors, you can record that piece of information also here. Now, about dates, a couple of words about this. You will see by default that MyHeritage asks you for an exact date, but in genealogy, that is not always the case. Sometimes we only know the approximate date, so you use the circa option right here. Sometimes you know that an event happened before or after another event. For example, if we're talking about the birth of somebody, his father had to be alive at least 9 months before that person was born. It may happen that the father died between the pregnancy and the birth of the individual, but he had to be alive. Well, very special cases that may not be the case, but most of the people were alive by then. So you know that it was before or after a specific time. Sometimes you may not know exactly the date, but you know it was between 2 years or from 1 year to the other. You can choose any of those in the drop-down menu, and you can put the date as accurate as you can. And this is true for every date from every piece of information that we have seen till now, and we will keep seeing all across. Now let's move to the second option, family. So first, let's talk a little bit, if we're already here in the death area, where do you find information about the death people besides the stories that your family may have for you? Well, in cemeteries. And I don't know you, Jeff, but cemeteries are kind of my preferred places. When was the last time you went into a cemetery?
Daniel, as often as I can, although I like looking at it from the top down. I guess it was
better than lying down, huh?
Yes, it's been about a year since I drove down the freeway here along the Columbia River in Oregon, and to go and visit the gravesite of my Uncle Dwayne. I hadn't been there since his funeral, and there I had a nice stone, and also his daughter. Her gravesite was there, and it was a nice time. That the cool thing about the cemetery was there was a map at the entrance that showed every person's name who was buried there and where they were buried. So it was relatively easy to find where they were. But I love cemeteries.
Come on, but don't give false hopes to all those beginners. Not every cemetery has a map
No,
with a name.
that's true.
That cemetery, I can already tell, is very small.
Yes.
Yes. Normally now today cemeteries do have a map, but mostly with the areas that they're using and the numbers of the different areas and lines and things to give you a glimpse of how to get to the burial that you're looking for. But yeah, the reason that I love cemeteries, and yes, I also love to walk out of them, is to find the information written in the stones. And sometimes you get a lot of surprises over there. You need to remember always that the information on the stone was not written by the person itself. He was busy by that time. But the information that the survivors remembered or knew about this individual. But visiting the tombstone or the burial place of your relative, first of all, I like to do that also with other family members to pass the information, the knowledge where the person is buried, and to remember and to pay my respects, but also to walk around other tombstones close by, because human beings, both in life and in death, they want to be together. And sometimes you can discover other relatives that you were not, that you didn't know about them, right there, buried very close to the one that you were visiting. And if you have any troubles finding the right burial, not like Jeff that has a list on the entrance of the cemetery, most of the cemeteries will have a caretaker, and they do know cemeteries by heart. So don't be afraid to ask, and you probably will get the right help in order to find your relative. Okay, so let's continue with the MyHeritage tree. And here, the second option in the menu will be the family. And we're talking mostly about the parents and the wife or the spouse of the person. Here is where you're going to say if the person was a natural child, was adopted, or any other type of relationship to the parents or to the spouse. If it's a friend, if it's married, if it's widow, you can customize and you can put over there everything, including the witnesses that signed or that were present by the time of the weddings. And most of the cases is another relative on the family. So you should be asking for those details when you evaluate and when you see the spouse and marriages in your family. Now, the next one is a biography, and this is actually very cool because here you have a space where you can write free text, whatever you want, with links, with images, with emoticons, with whatever you would like to put on that bio of the individual. The whole life could be recorded in that space. The next one will be contact information, and this again is also very interesting and important because we said already families want to be together. So if I have the address of a family, especially back in the 40s, 30s, 20s, chances are the rest of the family were living close by. And there are documents, there are records that give you the addresses and allows you to search by those addresses. And you will be able in that way to find more information. And because also people move, you will be able to add dates to those addresses. So you can have more than one right there. Emails, just for sure my grandfather didn't have one. But my cousins and my uncles, they do have, and I like to keep them also there just with their phones, fax. The addresses are also very good, and let me give you this huge tip. When you're traveling, you can go into your family tree, you can see who is living in that county, state, city, or country, and you can contact them and you say, hey, cousin, you know, I'm visiting you in about 2 weeks. Can I stay with you? You will save a lot of money on hotels. Well, people had to work. Yeah, we all have to do that. And people had different occupations, and they did that in different places and from different span times, from specific dates or years. People did that multiple times in multiple places. And MyHeritage will allow you to record all the occupations that your family relatives did. Now, let me go a little bit in deep about the different facts that you can encounter. Up till now, we have been talking mostly about what it's called BMD, birth, marriages, and death. And those are the really basic facts of any individual. But you should go beyond that. You should try to think on every step and every activity that the person did through his life. We already saw the occupation example, but also the next one will be education. And you have different schools and different levels of education for different individuals. Migration as people move, military, censuses, all kind of activities or that will generate documents to trace back your family. Each of those events happened on a specific time. So you should be able to pinpoint the different dates for those events. Sometimes it happened through a couple of years, so you have a first a starting and an end date. Sometimes you may not know the exact date, so try to at least put the month or the year, and if worse came to worse, just the year will need to be fine. The other piece of information is the places, and when you're talking about places, try to think of those old letters that people used to send in the mail, before the email came to play. So in order for an envelope to arrive to the right place, besides the name of the person, you had to put the street and the house number, of course, the town, the city, the county, the state, and even the country. So from left to right, in order to be as specific as you can. But if you don't know all the details of that person, at least try to complete as much as you can from right to left, minimum the country or the state or the county. Also remember, especially with those of you with roots in Europe, the border change. Countries change borders across the last 200 years. In the United States is also valid for the states. The different states move their borders while politicians and the democracy was moving forward and was delimiting the boundaries of the different places. So I already mentioned that the next one will be the education, and as any other, you could add as many as you want right there. And the next one is not so genealogically speaking facts, but it's also very interesting to know what music, movies, TV shows, or let's leave it in shows, probably books, restaurants, the different things that our relatives like the most. Again, this is what's going to put a little bit of color, what it's going to tell us a little bit more about that individual in our family. And it's going to be very nice to know, like, for example, in Jeff's grandmother, that she liked basketball. And maybe Jeff also likes basketball. So that is something that you have in common with your ancestors. Personal information, not only the religion and the nationalities, but also the height, the weight, the hair color, the eye color. You know how many times you have heard, oh, you look so much like your father, like your grandfather. Okay, so let's see if that is true. Let's see if I really have the same eye color or height or hair color if they didn't tint the hair back then. Or what about how many languages the person speaks? My mother speaks 7 languages, so definitely that's a fact I want to preserve for my descendants to know. And now we're really going to jump you into the advanced, but really this is more like a lifesaver or a headache saver for you. And it's the part where you need to do source citation. And what are source citations? Citations are the bibliographical tools used to document how you got that information and how did you connect it to that individual. And why this is important? Because if you find somebody in the 1940 census, you don't want to find yourself 3 or 4 years from now looking to the same records again and again, getting all excited when you find your relative, just to discover when you go back to your family tree that you already found that information and that record and you already researched the 1940 census. So the sources are the records, are the documents, are the censuses, or all kind of paperwork. Sometimes a book can be a source, or sometimes a family story, an interview. And I do strongly suggest you to start interviewing your relatives. Take all those older people in your family and start asking questions. Start asking them to tell you the story of the family, and even record it in audio, video, or any other way. I'm pretty sure you're going to have a lot of information, a lot of valuable information over there, and you will like to see that recording in a couple of years, maybe more than a couple, where the person will not be with you anymore. It's a very nice to remember that person like that. And then you have a repository, because every book and every document, every source is in a place. So you need to think like a repository, like the archive, the library, a website, or a person. Those are all the repositories. And the idea is, when you record the source citation, is that imagine that somebody else wants to actually see what you found. You need to give them detailed instructions on how to go back. So if it's a library, you need to be very specific which library, where this library was located, where this book was, in what shelf, what area, all the information that will guide the person or yourself to the right place again. So here is the source citation, and this is a general source citation for the whole individual. I will show you in a minute how I like to do the sources and how I suggest you to do it. But first, here is how you can add more sources and the information that you need about the source. And sometimes a publisher is not really the publisher, but it's a website or an agency. You can write over there also the description. You can even add a photo. But hold a minute with that photo over there. You could put it right there with the source and have a look of the book or the record that you use. But I have a better way of doing it. And this is on the all facts option right at the end. Here you can review everything that you have recorded about your individual. And you can do even more. Remember the source citation? You can put for every fact here a source citation, and sometimes you're going to find the birth of the person in different places and not always consistent. So you should write the source citation over there. You can write a note if you want to make something more specific about it, and you can add also a photo of the record that show you that information. You can just scroll down, of course, with all the facts, and from here you could also add another fact. And again, you're going to ask, well, but what should I record in my tree? Well, no worries. MyHeritage has a collection of categories where you can choose from, and each category have different facts. And even if you don't find the fact listed over there, you can simply come to the space in the bottom and just type whatever title to the fact you want to record. and we will allow you to record it just like that. Back to our family tree, back to our left panel. You really don't need to go over all those screens and all that procedure to add a fact. You can also, from your left panel, do a click on add a fact. The same little window will appear and you will be able to record more information about your relatives. And of course, as the say goes, the more the merrier. So the more individuals you add to your family tree and the more information you add to those individuals, you're going to be having a bigger, better, and more clear picture of your family. And this will conclude my part of the webinar, not before thanking you all for being here and hearing and watching this webinar. I hope it was useful to guide you on how to build your family tree online. I'm pretty sure you have a lot of questions, so before I answer them, I would like to point you to the help center of MyHeritage. Very easy, as you see on your screen, www.myheritage.com/help. In here, you will be able to simply type any question that you want. Of course, you have the popular questions right there or different subjects that MyHeritage covers. And you can even find the phone numbers by the different countries where you can call and you can get support over the phone in the different days and times right there. But I'm pretty sure that with the question and answers, that the FAQs that we have prepared for you, you will find a lot of your questions answered right there. So again, thank you very, very much. I know that Jeff has some questions already prepared, but before that, I also know that he has some surprises.
Surprises. Very good. And thank you, Daniel. Daniel, I was brought back to, a long time ago, with how I felt when I was first investigating or when I was first really getting into genealogy, and how exciting it was, and the way that you taught this today, for beginners. It was beautiful, Daniel. It was very well organized. I felt like I did way back then. And by the way, before genealogy, basketball was my life, and so I'm so thankful to my grandparents who where basketball was a big part of their lives as well. Well, let's switch this over here, Daniel, and I do have some surprises. And our first surprise, is our list of upcoming live webinars. So as part of the MyHeritage webinar series, we're going to learn about various topics throughout the rest of the year. And our next time together will be about understanding DNA matching technology. So that'll be Tuesday, January 30th. And Daniel, I believe, yes, I'll actually be hosting that one live in Tel Aviv. So I get to make my first trip back to MyHeritage headquarters. Really looking forward to that.
I told you that you have surprises for the people.
Yes, that will be fun. And I really like the Tribal Quest projects that MyHeritage is a part of, and so I actually requested that we have a live webinar specifically on Tribal Quest. So I'm looking forward to that. March 13th, we get to those warm, happy, fuzzy stories that we hear about families finding each other through DNA. Well, on Tuesday, March 13th, we're going to be introduced to some of those stories, so I'm looking forward to that. Followed by Hands-On with MyHeritage DNA. Now, this will be a special one where I will walk myself and all of you at the same time through MyHeritage DNA to see what I can learn and discover, and it'll kind of be like a Watch Jeff live episode of discovering what's up with MyHeritage DNA. And then the following Tuesday, we'll learn more about how DNA testing can reveal your ethnic roots. So do register for each of these. You're welcome to join them live. Each of them are recorded as well, and the recordings will be online and free indefinitely up in the webinar library at familytreewebinars.com. Now, let's go to our next surprise, Daniel, which is, it's door prize time. And for door prizes today, we've got 3 of these to give away. So, Daniel, a 1-year MyHeritage Premium Plus subscription, and I've got information about what that includes here on the screen. Before we go and select our winners here, is there anything specific that you could tell us about this Premium Plus subscription?
Well, yeah, I thought that this was the best prize that I could give people today, because this will allow you to build a family tree without limitation, both on the number of individuals that you put in your tree, the amount of images and pictures that you do, and also the amount of matches, like the one I show in the beginning. But after your tree is built, we keep bringing you matches, and those called, as you have it over there, the smart matches. And people can go ahead and confirm those and copy that information into a tree. And also other more advanced tools like the consistency checker and also the super search and instant discoveries. And we have a lot of time to talk people through that in the future.
Good. Now, one more thing I want to ask you before we announce or we select the door prize winners here. Related to this is a question from Karen, who says, can a person have a family tree on MyHeritage without a subscription?
Well, the answer will be no. The subscription, one second, let me clarify. Are you talking about a paid subscription?
Oh, I wonder if maybe Karen is...
I'm pretty sure yes. So let's talk a little bit, just one more second about terminology. You do need to subscribe to MyHeritage. You need to open an account on MyHeritage.
Okay.
But you don't necessarily need to pay. Okay. The first 250 individuals in your tree are free. And not everybody gets to that number that fast. So you will be able to experience also the technology and to have a taste of the matching and the other things that you can do. But yes, we have a lot of people with small trees not interested in matches or any other technology, having their family trees up there for free with no problem.
Okay, and she writes in saying, yes, that's exactly what she was wondering. So
you see, I also read minds.
So thank you very much, Daniel. Okay, who wants to win a 1-year MyHeritage? Now, you're not included in this, Daniel. I'm gonna mark you off of this list. All right, I'm gonna go and raise, or I've added your ability to raise your virtual hands, everybody. So look in your webinar control panel, please, and there's a little hand button there. So go ahead and give that a click, and by clicking it, that means that you want to be in the list, or you want Jeff to pick you. Okay, all right. So boy, Daniel, hands are going up like crazy here. How do we, Daniel? How do we pick the right hand here? I could randomly pick one. We can go by number. Do you have a favorite number, Daniel?
I have a favorite number, yes, and it's 11.
Oh, number 11. Oh, I love that. You just made my clicking a lot easier here today. Thank you. And also, Charles Roosh is going to be thanking you because he was number 11 to click.
Good.
So just watch for an email from us if we do call your name, and that's we'll get you going with that. And let me look at my next slide, Daniel, which is actually the exact same slide. So we've got another door prize here today. Let's see. My favorite number has always been 13, but that's awfully, that's real close to 11. Let's multiply that by, I don't know. Let's just add a 0 after that. How about that? Let's go with 130. This is where we have a little bit of fun here in our live webinars. That just means I've got 13 clicks here to go and find. Oh, I found it, and then it moved. Richard DeLillo. Richard, Richard, I think you're down in Arizona, aren't you? Well, glad that you're here today. All right. And by the way, yeah, Charles writes in saying thank you very much. And I'm going to just go and randomly pick someone here. And our winner
Go down.
Yes, we'll go way down the list. We're going to see Lyona Thomas. Lyona, that's a very pretty name. Glad that you're here today. Congrats. You're our third winner of our door prizes. And Daniel, this slide on my screen is my reminder to enter the question and answer section. So, Lyona with lots of exclamation marks and in all caps. She's saying yes. She's saying thank you. I think she's doing the genealogy happy dance where she's at right now. So, Leona, glad that you're here. Well, Daniel,
I see a lot of clapping also here.
Yes. Well, back when you're talking about cemeteries, Sue wrote in. I just wanted to share her comment here. Sue wrote in saying, I love cemeteries. She went to our local one this past summer and asked the office staff to help me find the burial plot of my husband's great-grandfather. And the secretary pulled out a card to help her locate the plot. And Sue writes, wouldn't you know, there was a notation on the card, which was a detailed explanation about a huge family fight regarding the headstone. She says, we had no clue that this had happened, and now that story is part of his bio in her tree. So, Sue, yeah, you never know what you're going to find, and I'm glad that you found some color there. That's great. Okay, so Daniel, back at the beginning, we were talking about smart matching, and when you start adding, your first few people, it's possible that we're going to get these smart matches. Now, if I'm using the wrong terms, will you let me know? But I think we're good.
So far, you're doing good.
So far, so good. All right. So Yvonne says, "What if I accept names from a matching tree, but that tree has incorrect information? Is that going to cause a problem for my tree? Or others have asked, would I be able to edit the information that they import into their tree via the smart matches?"
Okay, so I'm gonna piggyback also on Brian's question. I think it's related to that.
Okay.
And today, although today we didn't go in deep on the smart matches, let me tell you this: when we present you with a match, we show you the information in the other person's tree. We show you also the name of the administrator of that other tree. So first of all, you can accept the match without copying anything to your tree. You can, at any stage, at any point in time, you can contact the other person and you can ask them, like, why do you have my great-grandfather in your tree? Or why do you say that this person was born in this time or place? And only then, after you accept the match, you can decide to copy the information, and we will show you side by side the information from your tree and the other person's tree, and you can hand-pick the facts that you want to bring to your tree. So if you only want to bring a better date or a more complete date or a place that you are missing, that's all what you need to copy. You don't need to copy all the other information. Now, if you know that the other person has it wrong, I strongly suggest you to contact the other person and ask him and suggest him, show your records, show your facts and where you took that information. Maybe it's you who is wrong. Maybe you both are right, and you have conflicted records that shows different information for the same person. So genealogy is all about collaboration and communication. So you should apply that to your family tree as well.
Perfect answer. Sure appreciate that. Cindy has a question. She's wondering, what if she's messed up? Can I delete a tree and start over? And if you can, would you recommend that? What are your thoughts for Cindy?
Well, depending, Cindy, on how many people you have in your tree. If your tree is relatively small and you're sure that for some reason is wrong, yeah, you can delete it, but I will suggest you to leave it there and just start another tree, which you can do on the same website. If you're importing a JEDCOM, you can first import the JEDCOM, and then I will suggest you to delete the tree. And this is just because very easy. You don't want to delete the tree and then find out that for any mistake or something happened to the one that you were planning to bring, you will end up with nothing, not the old one and not the new one. Of course, the sum of the individuals in both trees are going to affect the limit of your site. So you can upload or create the new one and then delete the old one to clear a little bit the amount of individuals there. And I'm sorry, yes, where do you do that? Under the Family Tree tab on the menu, you have a drop-down menu where it says Manage Trees. Right there is where you select which tree and the delete button.
Okay, so I'm going there right now. I'm going to click on Manage Trees, and I think the audience is able to see my screen. And here I'm just showing. I've just got the one tree there, and lots of other choices here. But this is where I can delete it. But now you mentioned adding another tree. Lois is wondering: is there a limit to the number of separate trees that you could have?
No, the only limitation is on the amount of individuals, on the total amount of individuals that you have in your tree. In your case, you have 6,732. So the second, third, and successful trees will add to the total amount of individuals.
Now, if you have a I don't know the terminology, Daniel, of the different subscriptions. Let me go back to our door prizes. The Premium Plus.
The subscription, yeah. Well, you have the basic one that, as I said before, is 250 individuals. Yeah. Then you have a Premium one, which is 2,500 individuals.
Okay.
And then you have the Premium Plus, which is unlimited.
Okay, so we're not going to run into any problems if you have one of those kind of subscriptions. So you can add as many trees as you want.
That's the one I suggest to everybody always.
All right, well, very good. Now, Cookie's wondering about the security with our personal data. Of course, it's something that we're concerned about these days. Can you tell us a little bit about the security of having our data at MyHeritage? Are there any issues or concerns that we should be aware of?
Sure. So starting from your own tree, as I said before, the default tree is open to everybody, only for deceased individuals.
Okay.
Your members, the ones that you invite, their family members you invite to your tree, will be able to see everything. Visitors will only be able to see information about dead individuals. If you like, on that setting wheel that I explained on the family tree where the privacy is, you can close your website totally for other people to see. And they will need to actually request access to your tree. And this happens sometimes on the match, or on a search when you find some information in MyHeritage and you try to visit the website that holds that information, you will be prompted with a message saying this website is private, you cannot see anything. You will need to request permission from the admin to see that.
Okay.
If I go a little bit up on the levels, I can tell you and everybody that MyHeritage servers are very well protected, and we take both privacy and security very seriously.
Oh, good. Good. Well, certainly glad to hear that. Back on, and thank you. Is it the edit tree settings? Is that the first link I would go here to look into my privacy settings?
No, go to family tree.
Okay.
Just regular family tree, and then in the click over there.
Click on family tree.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then on the upper right corner where it says find the person, right there. So more actions on the bottom.
Okay.
And here is how you get to the privacy settings.
Okay. So privacy settings, tree editing permissions. Very good. One of the questions that I see often is about I'm glad you addressed the names earlier, to display the married names or the maiden names, and that's just found just right here. So once in the tree view here that we're looking at, we just click on this options button, and that's where all of these preferences are.
Yeah, that's a question that people always ask.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, very good. And by the way, I've been saved by these icons more than one time, Daniel. So my wife's birthday's coming up.
Yeah, I didn't mention those. Those are definitely lifesavers, especially
I love it. And even the anniversaries that are coming up. I'm so glad to. I really enjoy.
Don't worry, you also get those on the mail. So if you didn't visit your website, you receive a calendar alert on your mail, and you will know when to buy those flowers and chocolates.
Daniel, I became a really great grand nephew because of one of those emails. I was glad that I opened it up that day, which said that Aunt Peggy's birthday is real soon. So I sent her an email, which I've never done before. And she wrote back saying how surprised and how great it was to hear from me, and I really appreciated that fact about MyHeritage. So nice job, and thank you. Now let's do a question here we've got all kinds of questions, Daniel, but let's do this one from James. And my guess is I think we have an entire webinar later on this year about the printing of different charts and reports, but is it possible, is what James is wondering, is it possible to print your tree? Where would I go to look for different options for that?
So definitely yes. Under family tree, you have a lot of options right there. One of them is charts and reports, and we offer a variety of very nice charts.
Oh, here we go.
You can select what information you want to print right there, and how you want the chart to look with the styles. And yeah, we have the sun chart,
that's neat.
which if you have a lot of pictures or images for individuals, is really very nice. And you can see all the descendants or all the ancestors right there with their pictures and photos and everything. You have also the hourglass option, or the common descendants or ancestors. You go a little bit below that, you have the styles, and you can select if you want with pictures, without pictures, with a background image, and to who you want to concentrate, or you want to make the main person. Let me tell you about those birthdays and anniversaries. What I used to do is I generate a chart, and charts are free, and you can generate as many as you want for the people that had birthdays or anniversaries. And then I could download the PDF, and I can just send it to the person. I can print it in my Kinko's or whatever printing store I have close by, or I can use MyHeritage professional printing service and have that delivered to the person that is having a birthday or anniversary. And people were very, very happy.
So you shouldn't have said that, because now you've got me curious about where do I find that? Do I create the chart here and then, or order a copy of it on here somewhere?
Well, yeah. Once you hit that generate chart,
Okay.
You will see a message that it's being in progress, and I can already see that you haven't done a lot of charts till now.
Yeah.
But again, you can, from here below the word charts, you can create a new chart. And if you go back there, you will see here that you can go to my charts and right, back and forth. And from there, once your chart is ready, you can download or you can order to be printed and to be sent to the person that you want.
So it could be done, if I did it that way, it could be done all on one sheet of, on a big sheet of paper as opposed to me taping them together? Okay.
Yeah, well, that was one of the options, but normally I will suggest to use in one sheet of paper. Below you have like the very last option.
Yeah, right here.
It's single page or multiple page.
Okay.
And again, if your tree is small and you're doing this just to have like the big picture and to work in paper a little bit, I will suggest multiple pages. But if not, a single page, it doesn't mean it's going to be printed in a letter size page.
Okay.
It means that all the family tree is going to be saved on one image, normally again a PDF, and the printing company should be able to blow that to the maximum size of paper available.
Oh, good. Well, thank you very much, Daniel. Let's see. Looking at this was a question that was asked often, and specifically from Dale. The black diagonal line on a person's card.
On the family tree.
Yeah, let me go to the family tree and find one of those. And
that is actually to indicate that the person is not alive. Is being deceased.
Okay. All right. So if you see one of these black diagonal ribbons there, now Daniel, I got.
And that,
go ahead.
That will appear there even if you don't have a date for the person. As long as the person is marked as deceased, that will be enough to show the black ribbon.
Okay. All right. I got in trouble, Daniel, because when I was looking at my wife here, she used to have that black ribbon there. I had no idea why, but it turns out that when I originally imported my tree via GEDCOM file, somehow she was marked as deceased.
As deceased.
Yeah. And
not nice.
Oh, I know, but you could see that it's not there any longer. So I've resolved that marital problem. All right, let's see other questions. Beverly has an interesting question. So if you've using the settings, you've chosen to share your tree or make it. Invite others to your tree, and they can make editing changes. Beverly's wondering if others do make any additions or editing in your tree. Am I made aware that has happened, or how can I see what activity has been occurring in my tree?
Well, if you go to Home, you will see display over there kind of a log of what happened in your tree, both what you have done and what other people have done.
Okay, so somewhere on the home page here?
Yeah, a little bit further down.
Okay.
And that is one design. We have a different design.
Okay.
If you go, you have it closed. Where it says Family News,
yep.
If you click those arrows over there, it will tell you. You see that Jeff just created a poster.
Okay.
And if you keep going down, it will discover all the things that you have been doing.
Yeah.
You update from Family Tree Builder, which is our software, and you updated details for Harry Melvin Manley.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, I've been working on him.
So if somebody else will do something in your tree, you will see it right here.
Okay, that's perfect. Yeah, so that was found on the home page, and we scrolled down, and I opened up Family News, and
and we have another design of the homepage, a more modern design,
really?
but it's basically the same thing. You still have over there the news of what's there.
Okay, how. I guess a personal question. How do I get that? Can I switch to that? I like new stuff.
Well, let me show it to you and everybody else. Do you wanna give me?
Yeah, you bet. I'll switch this over to you.
One second. Before I accept, let me. Okay. So show my screen. So this is how the new design looks. So probably all the people that open the family tree today as a new users, basic user will see it like this.
Oh, really? Okay.
A little bit of advertising of what's happening on your tree. And then again, the same thing. Recent activity, you see who update and who did what and when. So
yeah,
you see right here.
Okay. Oh, I like that. So maybe that'll just show up on my account sometime where I'll get that new view. Well, thanks for that sneak peek there, Daniel. I'm going to switch this back here. Here's a question we've had a few times. So we're looking at the family tree, and it's kind of if I zoom all the way out, it's like an all-in-one style of a tree that I can navigate. Now, what about a pedigree view of it, like the left to right version? Is that I've seen that in the DNA area?
Exactly.
Is that something that's coming, or do we have access to seeing this in left to right, or what are your thoughts about that?
Well, a lot of people have been asking for that, but a lot of people have been asking for a lot of things.
Right. Okay.
Now we have limited resources, but just as you said, the pedigree view is already available on the DNA, so that's the proof that we are actually working on it.
Okay.
And hopefully soon will be also available for the whole tree right here.
Oh, neat.
And I also saw a question about somebody also wanted to see it in a pedigree style. The current option will be to generate a chart in pedigree view, and then you could the ancestors or recent
right here.
horizontal.
Okay. Yeah, go to horizontal. All right.
So that's kind of a pedigree, and you will be able to use that. Of course, not to edit the information, but at least to see it that way.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. By the way, you're doing great. I'm trying to find some real hard ones to stump.
Bring that on.
To stump Daniel here. You did answer Dale's question about the source citations. So as you fill in all of the blanks, you can add citations. What about this question from Annette, who asks, given the boundary changes in Europe, she's wondering, is it better to input the historical location or the modern location?
There are two trends on that.
Okay.
I kind of like to go with the old name of the country.
Okay.
Just to keep historical data accurate.
Yeah.
And understand why my grandfather is Romanian, although the city where he was born is today part of Ukraine. The other problem will be that if you want the correct location of those places on a map, or you will go to the archive or to the place to see where your family came from, you actually need to know today where those are located. In MyHeritage, we have a feature also under that family tree menu that will give you a world map with the pinpointing the places, the pedigree map, the places where your family came from. So in this case, it will be probably better to have it with the current places in order to be able to locate them.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. We did have I love looking at maps, Daniel. We did have a webinar on this. What was it called? Pedigree map. So if we go up here,
it's pedigree map. We did that last year with Uri.
Yeah. So just go up to the website, and you're able to view this one by Uri and Daniel here. Pedigree map, an interactive map of your family history. It had some really neat things in there. And Daniel, in one of our recent after webinar parties, we were actually looking at surname distribution maps, or heat maps. And I noticed that I could create a heat map. Using right down here in the lower right hand corner, it's just funny, we were discussing the topic, and then we learned that we could actually create a heat map here using the pedigree map here at MyHeritage. So that was really neat to see. So if you want to learn more about that, go up here, and here I'll just stick that link in your chat area, everybody. All right, Daniel, just a couple more minutes here. And you're doing great. Brian writes in saying, "May the source be with you." So Brian, thanks for that. And
I like that.
Natalie writes in saying, "Thank you for having the new chromosome browser on MyHeritage." This is a really, really big deal, Daniel, and this just happened. What's today's Tuesday? This just happened just this last week.
Yeah.
Oh, it's huge news in the DNA community, and MyHeritage now has the chromosome browser, and I'm working very hard to try to get a live webinar scheduled for that very soon. So for all of you who are wanting to learn more about that, just watch our watch social media, and we'll let you know when that webinar is coming up. But
definitely that was something that the community was desperately asking for. And I remember last year in RootsTech, Gilad, our CEO, just said, "Yeah, we're going to do it."
Yeah,
and that's it. And we did it. Like, we stand by our promises. So.
Oh, that's great.
It's very nice.
Yeah, Patricia writes in saying she found a new relative because of the update at MyHeritage DNA. You know, I went from for me personally, maybe 26 DNA matches up to more than 1,200 DNA matches as a result of what you've done just this past week. It's incredible.
It's not only that, but the accuracy of the matches improved very much.
Is that right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Daniel, I don't think I told you this, but last Saturday I was involved in teaching the genealogy merit badge to a local group of scouts, and one of the most enjoyable parts of that class, or where the kids really got into it, was when I came down here and clicked on play intro, and they just loved hearing the different music from the different countries that make up my DNA. So if you do have your DNA now, if we've taken a DNA test from another company, tell us, Daniel, we can import this into MyHeritage. Is that accurate?
That's true and accurate. From almost any of the other companies out there, you can download your raw data and import it into MyHeritage. The results will be pretty much the same as if you took a MyHeritage DNA test.
Huh.
Of course, the advantage is that MyHeritage being so international, we have a lot of DNA from Europe and the rest of the world. So you will be matched with people that may not be in the other companies that you tested. If you need to test other people, or if you haven't tested yourself, MyHeritage has a very good prices and special offers also right now.
Okay.
So you can take advantage of that. But notice that the upload is free for now. And I already have heard rumors that the paywall is approaching, is coming. So run and upload your DNA before they decide that it's going to cost money.
Okay. And so to do that, you'd go up to myheritage.com, hover over DNA, and click on Upload DNA Data. And I've done that. This says I manage DNA kits of 7 people, including myself as well. And by doing that, is this accurate, Daniel? By doing that, I would get to see the ethnicity estimate for each.
For those kids,
for those people, okay. And also, I would get DNA matches for each of those people.
Yeah,
okay.
You will be the administrator of those DNA kits.
Okay. Well, Daniel, we're at that time. This time it's passed very quickly, but one of the comments from one of our viewers here said this was one of the which I completely agreed with, said that this was one of the best overviews to the MyHeritage site and services they've ever seen. I feel the same way. Wonderful. I was glad that I was here. I wouldn't consider myself a beginning genealogist, but I'm closer to being a beginner at MyHeritage, but I certainly see the value of doing what I'm doing, but also having my data at MyHeritage, taking advantage of what we have up there. So, well done.
It has been a pleasure for me.
Absolutely.
I had lots of fun exchanging information, teaching you all the nuts and bolts of MyHeritage, and hopefully helping you to look for more information, where to and how to advance your genealogy.
Very good. Well, thanks to Daniel Horowitz and to MyHeritage. This is the new MyHeritage webinar series. This will be on Tuesday afternoons, once or twice each month throughout the year. So I'll be here to host them. We'll have different speakers from MyHeritage to present the various classes. So wherever and whenever you are around the world, thanks everyone for sharing part of your day with us. And remember, life is short. Do genealogy first. Bye, everyone. Thanks, Daniel.
Bye-bye.